Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hi, this is Tammy Patzer, and I'm really excited to introduce you to today's guest, Brian G. Johnson. He is the author of the phenomenal book that sold hundreds of copies and was the #1 bestseller in 5 categories on Amazon, Trust Funnel. Leverage today's online currency to grab attention, drive and convert traffic, and live a fabulous, wealthy life. Brian is doing some fantastic things with YouTube. And before we get started on the interview, I want you all to go and see Brian G. Johnson TV. That's youtube.com, Brian G. Johnson TV, so that you can take a look at what Brian G. Johnson is up to. Welcome, Brian.
Hey, Tamara, so great to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'm really excited to have you on the show because, like thousands of other people, I got Trust Funnel and I got the physical book last year, and it is something that I have read from cover to cover. But because my background is in video marketing, that is what I want to focus our interview on today. And in just the past week, I saw that you've created a new Facebook group called Tube Ritual. Can you tell me a little bit about what that's all about?
You bet. So basically, I did release that book that you mentioned, Trust Funnel, and that was an amazing experience, and it sold really well, and not just selling, it really had a positive impact, and I've had so much great feedback. And you know, after you do something big like that in your career, you kind of have this pause, and you ask yourself, well, what's next? Like, well, what do I do now? How could I possibly top that? And I dealt with that question for a few months through the summer. And as I got towards the end of last year, I really started thinking about video marketing. And video, not even like just take the marketing out of it, but just being able to create a message that people can connect with so quickly. And that's the power of video. And I have been on YouTube in a lot of different channels. I've got a cooking channel. I've got some old marketing channels. I've used video to post to Facebook just to say hi and connect with people. I've created sales videos. I've created outdoor scenic videos, but I've never really focused on it. And I started thinking, you know, so many people have commented that I am heavy on video. I use video often and a lot. And yet I had never really tried to apply myself. And I thought, you know, it would be really fun to create a new channel on YouTube and to document the experience and to write a new book about growing an audience on YouTube and the ins and outs of video marketing. So the name of the book is the same as the name of the Facebook group, and it's Tube Ritual. Now, I launched the channel in March, and for the first few months, I was learning a lot of new stuff. A new DSL camera, white background videos, lots of fancy editing, Final Cut Pro. I mean, stuff that was about 3 levels above what I was previously doing. So I got my feet wet and I really focused on learning. But I got to a place where I was like, okay, I get the DSLR. I'm not a pro, but I'm getting good at it. And I understand the video editing, and I'm getting closer to where I want to be. So now my goal is going to be to create some great videos and to do that often and to grow my YouTube channel. And I thought I'm going to create a 30-day challenge for myself. And wouldn't it be fun if I invited all my friends along for the ride? And I thought what I'll do is create that Facebook group, tube ritual, and we can all create our own challenges and hold each other accountable. And it's giving me an outlet to share what I'm learning along the way and sharing nuggets with people and whatnot. And that's how that group came about. It was really me going into my own challenge on YouTube. This month, I'm on about week 2.5 or so, and I'm trying to upload once a day. And I thought, well, what the heck? Why don't I just invite folks in and we'll create a really cool group? And, it's been really rewarding. So many people have been sharing lots of great ideas, and we're all holding each other accountable. And I'm really happy I did that.
That's really interesting that you thought about the 30-day challenge, because think about that. If you did one video a day, that's 30 videos to help you grow your influence and your impact, and hopefully eventually your income. So the purpose of the Brian G. Johnson TV on YouTube is, what type of content are you creating on a daily basis?
I always create content based on what I'm excited about, and that has served me so very well. So like when I was writing Trust Funnel, I basically decided to write everything and to create this cool book based on what I've done up until that point. And right now I'm creating a lot of video about YouTube as well as apps that I'm using. So like, to give you an example, I do a lot of work on my iPad. I create thumbnails, like you mentioned, the social media graphics I uploaded to Facebook.
Yes.
I just created those on my iPad, and I have got videos on my channel that are tutorials that walk people through, $2 apps that we can use to create beautiful artwork to push our marketing forward. So that's really what I've always done, Tamara, is just to create content based on what I'm excited about right now. And now that I'm starting to get some really exciting results on YouTube, I'm sharing those. Like I've created some tutorials about driving more views on YouTube and how to create thumbnails that get more views because people are clicking, and more. So that's what I'm working on right now.
So you're actually integrating Facebook and YouTube, even though technically they're competitors, but you have your YouTube channel, and then you have the Tube Ritual group, and you have quite a few people who are participating in that 30-day challenge. How are you going to be using these other people's challenges in the book that you're writing?
Well, at this point, again, my goal was to create my own challenge for myself. And the book itself is, what's possible in a year? Like, what happens when you start with zero? You have 0 subscribers, 0 videos, and you launch a channel on YouTube, and it's no longer 2005 or 2007 when YouTube was brand new. So that's really the core focus. But at the same time, I can tell you that so many of the people that are in the group are really impacting me because they're asking questions, they're sharing their own ideas, and it's one thing to do a lot of research and maybe to dip your toe in the water with a particular subject. Like, imagine writing a book about painting after you've practiced painting for a weekend versus deciding to fully commit yourself. Not to I'm going to grow a Facebook following, I'm going to write a book, and I'm going to do a podcast, but to be really committed and really focused on one singular thing and then report back. And that's what I'm doing. So I'm fully vested in YouTube, and that's what I'm sharing. And just having the people in the group sharing their experience, what they're going through. And one of the things that's come out is, everybody sees video very differently. Some people are creating video to post on Facebook. Some people are asking questions about Instagram. Other people are posting questions about YouTube. And one of the things that's important is to really understand, what is your path? How are you going to make an impact? How are you going to get results? And where are you going to focus? If you're just creating video to create video, that's a great start. And that's really where you want to start. right? You want to learn how to present on camera. You want to learn how to create a voiceover if you want to create that type of a video. And after you get your feet wet and you want to take it to the next level, if you really want to grow a following, you really want to tailor the content you create to a platform. Video is very different on YouTube than it is on Facebook. You kind of mentioned, well, there's Facebook and there's YouTube and they're competitors. They are competitors, and the type of video that does well on YouTube is very different than what does well on Facebook. So just these are the kind of things that are really starting to shape the book based on the interaction of the group.
So let's take a closer look at the difference between the videos that are good for Facebook and the videos that are good for YouTube. Can you give a couple examples?
You bet. So statistically speaking, videos do much better that are short on Facebook. Facebook is, the internet itself is land of attention deficit. Like people are just, it's like you've got a few seconds to capture someone's attention. And then once you've got it, you've got to hold that attention. And it's easy to be noisy and I'm kind of goofy and whatnot, but having the ability to create content that engages people and keeps them watching is key. And on Facebook, your goal is to create maybe maybe a 2 or 3 minute video. And that's about it because the attention span is a lot shorter on Facebook. Now, what's interesting about YouTube is actually publicly said that we reward videos that keep viewers watching longer, and we reward them by ranking them higher in YouTube search and other discoverable factors. So in other words, if you create a video that keeps people watching longer on YouTube, then you're going to be more likely to receive some love from YouTube and the search engine. And I am experiencing that because, I've been active now for 3 months. I've created maybe 40 or 50 videos, and I would say about 30% of those are driving really exciting views. I've got 4 or 5 videos that are driving, a couple of them are driving 100 to 200 views a day. A couple of them are driving 10, 20, 30 views a day. So I've got a bunch of videos that YouTube is rewarding, and a lot of those keep viewers watching longer. So it's kind of interesting. Like a lot of people might think I'm going to create videos and post them to Facebook, then I'm going to post them to YouTube. And if you go into that mentality and let's say you hear, well, videos on Facebook should be short. That's correct. And if you make all short videos, does that mean you're not going to succeed on YouTube? Well, no, I think there's always going to be exceptions, but YouTube has publicly said that we reward videos that keep viewers watching longer. And to give you an idea, the videos that are doing well for me have an average view duration of 5 minutes, meaning that every person that watches it on average about 5 minutes. Some people might watch 1 minute and they're bored and they leave. Others might watch for 8 minutes and they really dive into the content, and that averages out to 5 minutes. Now, people don't watch video that long on Facebook. So that's a really good example of the differences between the platforms.
So for example, what type of video, meaning the content, what type of content, if I wanted to start growing my online footprint and be known as an authority or an expert, for example, in a specific topic, what types of videos should I be making?
Well, I think it's really important to start with the creation process first. And you really can't go wrong by following your passion and what you're excited by. And this is how I always advise my clients and my coaching students is take a subject that you're really excited about, because when you create content based on that excitement's going to come through and it's going to hold people's attention longer, which is exactly what you want. Because if they leave after 30 seconds, they're never going to get to the call to action. They're never going to share your video or subscribe to your channel. So start with what you're excited about. And then really, I think it's important to understand the rules of the road. It's important to understand how the YouTube algorithm works. But at the same time, just try to create content for people. And what I mean by that is I might create a video that's really short. Like, here's a simple hack that you can use to get more subscribers, and it might take me 3 minutes to create that video. I'm not going to bloat the video content to try to keep people holding on longer, because ultimately I really want to cater to what people want. And the sooner I can create great content, cover a subject, and get done, the better. However, on the flip side, if I'm doing a tutorial about how to use iMovie for your iPad, there's a number of things I need to cover, and that particular video is 20 minutes, and it's ranking really, really well, and that's the video that's got a higher average view duration. So I really just focus on creating great content, and by trying to truly deliver valuable information, I think that leads to slightly longer videos. I think if you're doing a 2 or 3 minute video, I think it's hard to really get into something that's meaty. At least it is for me.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. So the example you used was how to use your iPad for whatever, and you said that was about a 20-minute training. So you're actually using the YouTube videos to provide training content. Do you find that training is one of the most popular videos on your YouTube channel?
On my particular YouTube channel, absolutely.
So from your book in Trust Funnel, you were talking about different types of video that you might want to create. How have you been using any interview style in your current experiments that you're doing for Tube Ritual?
No, because I'm more interested in highlighting my own personal ideas.
Okay.
So,
okay, I get it.
do you know what I mean? It's like and I don't want to sound pompous. I really don't. But to me right now, as I grow a little bit older and hopefully maybe just a little bit wiser, I'm not looking at this as just a video or a book. I'm trying to create something that's going to last, and I want to share and express myself in a creative way. So by creating these videos, I really get a chance to express myself, to share my zaniness and my goofiness. I mean, you've seen my videos.
Oh yeah, you're funny, and your dog's the poodle wrangler, and I'm a big fan, and I often wish I had that, whatever that is, because I'm a little bit more subdued. I get real excited and talk with my hands, but I don't, you know what I mean. I wish I was a personality. You've got a definite personality going on, which is very magnetic.
Well, I appreciate that comment. And what I'll tell you is that, we all have gifts, strengths, and abilities. We all have talents. And I feel like it's our job to simply try to do the best, to be the best we can be. So when I came on YouTube, I did not act like I do now, but I was like that. I mean, that's how I am in my real life. I make jokes, I laugh, I dance goofy on the deck with the dogs when I'm grilling, and that's how I've always been. But it took a lot of courage for me to share that online, because here I am. I think when you go from like being a professional chef to trying to teach people how to make money online, which is kind of businessy, or can be. It can be kind of trailer trash too, but it's leaning and it's heading towards business. There's this idea that this is serious, and it's not serious. It doesn't have to be serious. What I learned is that as long as you can provide value, and as long as you can demonstrate that you can generate results, people will listen. And as I continued to explore this idea, I started really thinking, if I can learn how to build a WordPress website from 2 people, and one of the individuals is more fun and energetic, I'm probably going to want to hang out with that individual, because I'm going to get the same information from either one. So I stepped into that. Now, if you're not that's okay. And I think just by stepping into who you are and highlighting the core strengths you have, like I worked with Aiden Booth for many years. He was a student of mine, and he's doing incredibly well now. He's more quiet. He's more subdued. He's not a personality, but he is very smart and has tremendous results, and he teaches and he does great. So I think it's just a matter of deciding to stake your claim, deciding to step into your greatness and owning it.
Well, I think that is phenomenal advice, because whenever I see people who, you are somebody that's like, I'd like to meet that guy and go hang out with him and learn. I mean, that's what you exude, that fun and gee, let's go learn how to do videos with him, because he makes videos look like it would be a fun thing to do, instead of, other people are like, oh, that looks like it's hard and boring and technical. And you make it seem like it would be okay if you maybe made a few mistakes along the way. What are your feelings about using smartphones? You mentioned you learned how to use the DL, but how do you say that? DSL, the camera.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of getting confused right now.
What are your feelings on the smartphone? Using your smartphone to make your videos.
There's not a better tool on the planet.
Okay.
Period. I mean, especially if you're looking at bang for your buck. If you're a marketer and you're wondering if you should have an iPhone, holy smokes. I can't wait to make this video in the future. There's this quote, a photography quote, and it goes something like, the best camera is the one that you have with you. And I've got footage on my phone from bighorn sheep. I'm out hiking and I see these huge bighorn sheep. Now, A, I'm wondering if I'm going to die, and B, I'm also capturing it on video. So if I went down, it would have been one last cool video from Brian, which that's nice to think about. I've got footage on my phone when I met a bunch of clowns. I mean, really real professional clowns. And I said, can we make a video? And I've got that. And I've got footage on my phone, from fighter jets flying over my home, because we live in Colorado Springs and the Air Force Academy is here. And I've got all this cool footage because I've got this device that fits in my pocket. And that's only a small part of why it's such a great tool. The other thing to think about, and I was kind of thinking about this, I think when we start thinking about, okay, I'm going to make serious videos, we kind of break things down and compartmentalize them. That's a big word for me, compartmentalize. And we think of, okay, I've got to create footage and film and stuff, and then I need to edit, if I'm going to edit, or am I going to just upload? But there's a few different tasks that need to be done. And what's cool about an iPhone is you can do all of them on one single device. So an even more exciting option is, people might say, well, I've got an Android. I don't need another, a phone service bill. Well, go get an iPod Touch. It's got a really great camera. You can download all the apps. And I do so much, like I said, with my iPhone and my iPad. So super, super powerful tool. And basically for about 4 years, all the videos I created were filmed on an iPhone 4S, 5S, and then 6. And even like my launch video for Trust Funnel, it was a 2-minute video, super, super simple, like hardly any editing, done in a few minutes. Now, what's funny is I did another video that was more production, and in the end, I just went with a super simple, quick video. It looked good. It sounded fine. I'm a big fan.
So are there some easy apps to use for editing on your iPhone or your iPad that you can suggest?
There are a lot of amazing apps, and I can suggest them, and I can go one further because, like I said, I've actually got tutorials on my channel.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So iMovie for the iPad or the iPhone is really an amazing app. It's so easy to use. It's full featured. And here's the other thing. Again, when you think of video, like, okay, I'm going to create some nice videos. When people do that, what do? They go buy a camera, or they buy a phone, they buy a microphone, they buy editing software, and you spend $1,000. And really what you want to do is you want to maximize your money, and you want to get as much as possible for what you spend. You could easily spend $350 and create way, way better videos by focusing and learning some of these apps. And like I said, the iPod Touch or an iPhone or an iPad. And an iPad is a little nicer to be able to have both. You can send the footage to your iPad and you can edit in it. As far as apps, iMovie is great. There's another one called Videorama. There's another one that's called, I'm going to open up my iPad right here. There's a few of them I want to share with you.
Cool. Well, everybody, while he's looking that up, I want to remind you to go to youtube.com, Brian G. Johnson TV. And the cool thing is, Brian has already created tutorials on a lot of these things that we're talking about. So you can go to Brian G. Johnson TV on YouTube and actually learn how to use these apps and tools so that you can make these phenomenal videos. I've been watching Brian's growth over time. And before we started the call today, he said that he'd been really focusing on YouTube since maybe November, doing research for the next book, which is Tube Ritual. And then he literally just started this group maybe a week or so ago and doing the 30-day challenges with these people. So think about that. He is focused, and I think that's a really, really important thing about everything that Brian has talked about when he was talking about Trust Funnel and how he focused on creating that book for everyone to write it up to that point in time. And then he took a little break thinking about, well, what is it I'm going to focus on next? The keyword being focus. And he said YouTube, because he'd been using video and he saw the power of it. And now, of course, he's focusing on the Tube Ritual and on the Brian G. Johnson TV channel at YouTube to grow his subscriber list, to get more views. He's learned about how to create all these videos so that people will go and actually watch them and get rewarded for creating high quality content. And as you all know, creating high quality content online is really what it's all about. You know, the days of linking and all that stuff in the back end and doing, I guess, the black hat stuff is long gone, and you will get rewarded for high quality content. So Brian, did you find your stuff?
Oh yeah.
Good. Thank you.
So IntroMate is a cool app that you can use to create those intros, you know, and you can spend $5 on Fiverr and get one, or you can spend $2.99 and get a software app that lets you make 20 and is super easy.
Oh, wow. I need that because I've been spending a lot of money on intros at Fiverr. So that's a really,
have you really?
That's a really good tip.
For real?
Oh yeah, I've spent a lot of money at Fiverr because I'm a solo entrepreneur, and it gets hard sometimes to, and you have to outsource. So I've spent a lot of money at Fiverr. But that's a really cool thing to know, because I actually do have an iPhone 6 and I do have an iPad mini, but I'm going to be honest, I haven't been utilizing these tools. And that was one reason why when I saw the Tube Ritual group open up, and I was saying, what is he doing? Because that stuff looks really, really good. Like, for example, I saw your new YouTube cover, and you said that you created that with an app. What app was that?
Well, no, my YouTube cover was created. Yeah, that was created by a designer.
Oh, okay.
But my Facebook cover.
Okay.
So the Facebook I did on my own, and I did that with. And again, I have a tutorial for it on my channel. It's an app called Typorama.
Okay, Typorama, cool.
And then I use a bunch of, I've got apps for video editing, and I have apps for image editing, and I used another app called Avery. So a lot of these apps are really cool. And with your iPad mini, you'll be able to do pretty much everything that I do in boy, it amazes me, these tools that we have now.
I have a question about microphones. You hear a lot about it, get a good microphone. Is that a myth or is that a truth?
Yes and yes. It really depends on your circumstances, where you are, and how you're creating videos. If you're outside and it's a bit breezy, having a microphone with a wind cover on it, or what do they call it, a dead cat, really helps diminish the wind noise. If you're inside and you're in a big room and it's really echoey, and if you have an older iPhone or an Android, it might sound kind of bad. But honestly, I'll tell you, I've made a ton of videos with my iPhone with no mic, and they're good enough. Now, again, that being said, I do have actually 2 mics for my iPhone, and the audio quality improves a good amount. So I'm using a mic called the Shure MV88.
How do you, is it Shure like SURE?
SH.
Oh, okay.
It's SHURE. Okay. And then the model number is MV88, and it actually just plugs in to the lightning port.
Oh, okay. So
and then it's got a software app as well that allows you to record in different modes. So whether it's spoken word or if you're at a concert, or it's really good, and it does sound, the sound improvement is substantial. But at the end of the day, what's most important is just to get started. And so many people, for whatever reason, there are many reasons, but they don't. They're not ready. They don't have the right gear. They're nervous. They're going to start when they're 10 pounds lighter. And so many of these things are just wrong. And I don't want to call anybody out, but at the same time, we let fear stop us. And a lot of times it's fear that is stopping us. Now, if you're going to get new equipment and you want to use that and you wait a week, that's cool. But I know people that are starting anytime. They're going to get started. And a lot of the people I coach, they come in and they've taken a lot of courses and they've done a lot of stuff, but they haven't published a lot of content. And really, if you think about it, the path to success is found in publishing. If you look at the most successful entrepreneurs, their publishing score is super, super high. Some of them publish a lot and often. Some of them publish every now and then, but it's a book. And the weight of the publishing score of a book is astronomical compared to a Facebook status update or a Snapchat.
Wow.
But there, people that are successful are really publishing a lot. So it's important to look at that and say, well, I need to figure out how I'm going to publish in a manner that's going to allow me to reach my goals.
And when you're using the word publish, are you using that in terms of considering that making videos is also publishing? Or what's the context of publish?
Well, absolutely. If you make a video, you're publishing content and what's really interesting about YouTube, and there's no other platform that I'm aware of that has this powerful, it's almost like a secret weapon, and that is videos on YouTube can rank for years. I can create a video today, and in 2019, it could still be on page 1 for a search term. And if you search YouTube, you'll see videos 2 or 3 years old. So absolutely, that's publishing. When you update Facebook, that is publishing. There are a lot of people that are really wicked good at Facebook marketing, and they're really conscious of the publishing stream they're putting out there. Everything is publishing. When you update your blog, you're publishing. When you make a video, publishing. Right now, what are we doing? We're creating content to be published in a magazine. Publishing.
Yes. Okay. Well, I wanted to make it clear that when you said publishing, it didn't mean just publishing a book, because sometimes people, they think that publishing is something that is bigger and not as achievable. But the reality is, when you're publishing content, you are publishing. And the video, I really firmly believe that video is where everyone should start. with their content, because not only can you have the video, you can have audio, you can transcribe it and turn it into text and use it in your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Twitter, wherever, and in your blog. And then, of course, video. People love video. And I think that when you said that about videos being online for years and years, I actually have some videos out there that are still ranking from like 2010, and it's almost like I wish that they weren't there, but because I was so new at doing all this. But I'm glad they're there because it shows I've been around, and that I'm not just this new kid on the block. And I think one of my favorite is I was saying Facebook is not a fad, because all these business people kept saying, oh, Facebook's just a fad. I don't need to do any marketing on it. And so I have a video called Facebook is not a fad. And I laugh because I live in Florida. And I was outside, and it was probably, late April, 95 degrees. And, I'm sweating like crazy talking about Facebook not being a fad, but that is out there. So if you were just starting out today, what would your top advice be to people who want to use video to start gaining their authority and influence?
How should people get started? Is that what the question was?
I think the question is, what would you suggest people do to get started with video?
Stop trying to figure it out and start. I mean, seriously, it's not hard. And for people that haven't started, it can be, because they're not used to publishing. They're not used to creating videos. But simply, the first thing I always recommend is just to spend a few days making a few videos based on whatever you want to make videos about, to make it easy. See, here's the problem, I think, is that if we really look at what we do, we can get really tangled in all the technical details and the learning and the calls to action and the funnel and the upsell and the side sell and the keywords and the meta tags and on and on and on. And for so many people, they're overwhelmed and they don't know how to start. And if someone is in this position and you ask me how to start, then just, let all that go and focus on developing the skills to create good video, and work on that for a few days, and then sit down and say, okay, I've made a few videos and now I want to make videos for my business, and then start having more structure. But in the beginning, and actually I recommended this to one of my members who's in my coaching program, and he was saying, well, how do I monetize, and I'm not sure about how I'm going to do this, and I'll get started. And I'm like, dude, you haven't gotten started for years. And you could try to figure everything out right now, or you could just create videos that you want to create right now and keep it simple. So I think that's really great advice. And then once people have done that, then what should they do? Again, I think the path that has served me so well is to really focus and figure out my own path. What am I excited about? So many people are looking for the best way to make money, or what's the best way to, what's the best platform? Should I use Snapchat or should I use Periscope? Well, what you should do is figure out what's exciting for you. It doesn't mean you can't ask people, but come up with your own conclusions and then chase that. So if someone's excited about, let's say, video marketing, and they're excited about sharing the apps they use, then make videos about those. That's what I did, and it worked out really great. And, now I'm talking about how to launch a YouTube channel, and hopefully those will work out great too. But by starting with the passion, you have the opportunity to capture that in a video. And what's important is that you create videos that engage people and keep them watching. I mean, that's video marketing. In 4 or 5 words, it's like video marketing is having the ability to create videos that keep people watching. Because if they leave, they're never getting to the call to action. If they leave, they're not going to subscribe. You're not going to grow a tribe, and etc. So start off by what you're excited about, share something you just learned, and then in that process, you get to capture that excitement, and that does absolutely translate to better engagement and better results.
That is really excellent advice. Brian, can you tell us again where people can reach out and hang out with you and even take the challenge with you? That sounds like a cool thing to do.
So if you're on Facebook, simply search for Tube Ritual on Facebook, and the group should come up. Also, I can be found on Facebook on Brian G. Johnson TV. So facebook.com/Brian G. Johnson TV. And that's also the YouTube address. So youtube.com/ or at Brian G. Johnson TV. So those are all the places people can connect.
Great. Again, Brian, thank you so much for sharing all of this cool information ranging from the Trust Funnel. You can get Trust Funnel on Amazon. I highly recommend that you get the physical book because it's just something about it that you want to be able to write notes in it and everything. And the Kindle book, too, I think you can actually highlight notes in that. But I really love my physical book. And definitely join Tube Ritual on the Facebook group and do that 30-day challenge. If you're somebody who needs some kind of accountability, it's built in, and why not join that group? And then again, make sure you go to YouTube and check out Brian G. Johnson TV. That's what I'm going to do because I want to know how to use some of these cool editing tools that you've already created the tutorials for so that I can get started using my iPhone and my mini iPad. So again, Brian, thanks a lot.
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure. And thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be on in your magazine and doing this podcast or interview with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. This is Tammy Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.